Before we start, I'll just request the three panelists to maybe do a short introduction about what you guys do, briefly about what your history has been like, how many restaurants, what you guys run. So over to you.
Hi, I'm Avantika Sinha. I'm based in Delhi. I started my hospitality company in 2018 with a Japanese restaurant in Aerocity by the name of Kampai. I'm also from one of the oldest restaurateur families in Delhi. My husband's great grandfather started Embassy Restaurant in Connaught Place. So, we're also taking that legacy forward now. I've expanded I have a restaurant in Vasant Kunj, I have a few in Gurgaon, and I also have a restaurant in Dehradun by the name of Basque. This year we're planning to expand into at least another 4 or 5 restaurants. We're taking Embassy Pan India now. We're planning to expand that as well. So we also have a very large catering vertical within the company under Embassy.
Gagan, over to you.
Thank you. So I'm Chef Gagandeep Singh, currently working with Shangri-La Group, Shangri-La New Delhi, and it's been 10 years now working with Shangri-La brand, Shangri-La Bengaluru, Shangri-La New Delhi, and in past I worked with some of the world-renowned luxury brands like One and Only in Maldives, Raffles Dubai, Aman in Thailand. So now back to home country. It's 10 years now, and I'm enjoying much of hospitality in India, working with several chefs. We have a big team of 127 chefs and multiple restaurants in the hotel. Some of the famous is Shang Palace and Tamra. That's my journey, and it's been 21 years now, and very happy to be a part of today's session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sukul, over to you.
I was going to say that I'm a big fan of Chef because I go to all his restaurants all the time. Hi, I'm Sukul. I've been in the F&B space for over 15 years now. For over 15 years now, I've been lucky enough to be part of some great casual dining restaurants and some premium dining casual restaurants. Started off in Mumbai. I don't know if you've heard of brands called Foo and Coco. They're quite widespread in Bombay. And they've now touched Bangalore and Hyderabad as well. So I was with them, I curated those brands, and I moved on from homegrown restaurants to bring in international brand, which is P.F. Chang's. So I had that for the last 2 years now. We've been able to open 6 restaurants now. We've got 3 in Delhi, 3 in Mumbai, and now we're going into other cities as well. So yeah, thank you.
Wow, great. So in the company of very, very major experts. So I think I'll start with you. I think clearly the theme for this is the spice routes reimagined culinary diplomacy between India and ASEAN. Clearly we are seeing the Indian consumer mature a lot, willing to try out different cuisines. I mean, you experimented with Japanese, which was quite unique at that time. I don't think we had too many restaurants there, or pure Japanese cuisine, sushi restaurants. Now every dinner or party you go to, there's always a sushi corner there, and you're seeing more and more different cuisines get introduced, especially the Southeast Asian cuisines. But if I look at that, it's only Japanese and Chinese. So just talk a bit about what's your journey been like? How do you see what's driving some of this success? Is it just that now we have a lot of people traveling to Southeast Asia through these new flights and new routes? And also, is it that the Indian consumer is maturing? And what does it take for other cuisines to come in? Malaysian, Indonesian, Thai is also sort of, I would say, much smaller than Chinese, etc. So over to you.
So at the time when we started Kampai, Japanese food was mainly restricted to like 5-star hotels. So it was pretty inaccessible to the general public. So when we started, what I wanted to do was make it a little more accessible to people who've not tried real authentic Japanese food. And at the time, like Pan-Asian was very popular. So restaurants which were doing pretty much everything. But what I wanted to do was just do like a specialized restaurant which is focusing purely on Japanese food made accessible to the general public. I do think over the last few years, when I started, a lot of people were actually eating Japanese food for the first time back in 2018. Now, in the last 2 years, I've seen that trend of Japanese cuisine has grown like immensely. I think people are now willing to experiment beyond just, Chinese food. And I feel like in the coming years, I see this trend of experimenting, like Korean is becoming extremely popular. So we've been experimenting a lot with that. I do think like cuisines like Singaporean street food, Malaysian, Vietnamese, I do feel like in the coming years there will be a lot of sort of demand for things like that to happen as newer concepts are coming in play and newer concepts and players are sort of doing a lot of things. So I do think there's a lot of scope for new concepts and cuisines in the market within the Asian space as people travel more into new countries around Asia.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing lots of routes open up into Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan, and I can just see a matter of time when many of these cuisines start to come in. Gagan, coming to you, you're a head chef in a very big hotel. Do you guys see a lot of varied cuisines in your restaurants as well? And is there a lot of talk internally about opening new, especially Eastern cuisines? Just your thoughts on that.
So as you rightly said, the Chinese cuisine and other cuisines nearby the smaller countries are becoming very popular in India. I think the first reason behind that is that we are easily able to adopt that taste. We have that sense of spices. So that's where I feel that in India, after Indian cuisine, you can preferably have an Asian. In terms of Asian, you have a most preferable is the Chinese cuisine. What I experienced from our hotel, we have a tamra, which is a world on a platter, we say, but the most of the guests come for Thai food, live Japanese section, yes, a bit of European, and of course, majorly Indian. But if you go over downstairs restaurant, Shang Palace is one of the most famous because I think a lot of Delhi people have taste buds of Chinese cuisine, and what we do is authentic Chinese, and what we have seen from the last few years, the footfall has increased because most of the people are traveling worldwide or in the Asian countries or China for the business. So they start adopting that taste and it's becoming popular from the Indian side of people. So I think there is a huge demand now and in near future as well.
Thanks. And Sukul, coming to you, what's the journey been like? And and do you guys have a slightly varied menu? Is it very focused still on Chinese and Pan Asian, or what's the theme like? And since you're seeing a lot of growth, what's driving this?
So firstly, I think just to your first question, I think there's a cultural osmosis taking place, right? There's about I think I was reading somewhere, it's about 2,000 plus daily flights that go from India to the ASEAN countries, right? So you look at that.
Echoing, I don't know. Just take another mic. Actually, for some reason, I'm not able to hear.
Is it better now, or is it the same, or is it just my position? I can go there.
It's a side. Maybe it's a.
Yeah, is it better? Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is there's a cultural osmosis taking place, right? You have, I was saying, so many flights kind of, going from India to the ASEAN countries. What's particularly interesting is that the ASEAN countries don't have Japan and Korea, but the maximum influence of actually the cuisine that's happened is from Japan and Korea. You have the K-wave happening, right? So you've got Korean food trending now. Same to do with, Japanese anime, and people are getting exposed to that, and that does expose you to food as well, culinary as well, and that happens. But I think this cultural osmosis is what has helped expose the Indian customer or Indian consumer to Asian food. My journey has been sort of kind of opened restaurants which have been Japanese, but then in casual dining formats, I've noticed that Pan-Asian tends to be a little bit more of a comfort space for people, varied places. There's sushi as well. But then, like Chef said, there's dim sums in Cantonese cuisine as well. But as I see in terms of trends and what could happen in the future, these trends are going to stay. But I think what has not been explored as much, I think Thai is coming up. Thai is definitely something that is coming up. And Vietnamese, like, she's also mentioned. And maybe in the future, we even go to, more particular things, Cambodian, there's so much still to be explored. But I think as people keep traveling and they have the spendable income to kind of explore, this is only going to grow,
And Avantika, coming to you, are you seeing, I think this speaker is on now, so it should be fine.
Sure.
Besides Chinese, then, I mean, what are the, I think now we have direct flights to Vietnam, direct flights to Philippines, and all of this will just expose Indians to these cultures as well, and hopefully they will want to see some of that. I mean, in your restaurants and you guys also diversifying. So obviously you are bringing back embassy in a big way. But outside of that, are you looking at other cuisines that you want to bring here, or maybe broaden Japanese as well, because it only seems to be teppanyaki and sushi, and that's really, to my knowledge, that's also a lot of it where it sort of gets restricted to. So how do you see that?
I mean, I do think that for a lot of people, Japanese food is still sushi. I think now at least the understanding has gone beyond that. And it's gone to, okay, there's also ramen and there's, your tempuras, and there's a lot of other things that are involved within Japanese cuisine. I mean, and it's very interesting because I had opened a Singaporean restaurant about 5 years ago, which today I feel was a little ahead of its time. But I feel like if I do that same concept today, because I think it should do pretty well, because what I did at the time was it was a strictly Singaporean street food concept. We had a lot of Malaysian influence, but I'd focused on Singaporean street food. So I do think that getting into niches like that today could be a very interesting sort of view for people to see newer Asian cuisines. And
Yeah, I mean, I think when we travel to Thailand, the street food is so amazing, right? And so inexpensive and so hygienic and so clean the way they do that. And I think bringing in a street food culture, which is done in the same way with excellently authentic. And I remember when every time we go to Bangkok, we always find 2-3 of these street food places, and you go there 2-3 times, right, during your trip. So it's quite amazing, and I think that would be actually fantastic right now. And I can just see for the want of a better location, but I can just see Basant Lok Market, which is really booming now, to have a street food, like
have the hawkers.
yeah, especially these high
I
streets.
actually hold you on for that because I'd love to have some great Hainanese chicken rice because you don't really have that whole street food present.
it took me 6 months to crack my
There you
Hainanese
go,
chicken
right?
rice
So
recipe.
it's
Oh, really?
there are people looking for these things actually.
And how did you get into it? Just talk a bit about what is your journey been in this food, because Japanese is very unique. Did you go and train somewhere? Did you go and train under one of those
No, so
big Japanese chefs?
I've been traveling to Japan since I was very young because my dad's business was a lot in Japan. And then on one of those trips, I was just like, why is nobody representing this cuisine in its true, authentic form? And, like restaurants are so used to doing everything, right? Like have a very large menu and serve everything. I wanted to just like narrow it down and do a few things, but do it really well. And do your specialty. So like our ramen noodles, we make our noodles in-house as well. So we got into really technical details and that's how we maintain the quality in that way. So I think that's what's important for restaurants to do today. How do you set apart from like the thousands of restaurants that are opening every day? A lot of people can do really good food, but it goes way beyond that. And you have to give that experience of transporting a person to a different part of the world.
And so, good, coming to you, I mean, is a small menu work? Because every time I go to a restaurant, I see like a 10-page menu, right? And you really get lost. And you go to Japan and you'll have like a hole in the wall where the guy only serves three things
dish, yeah.
or one dish. And he's like world famous, probably a Michelin 3-star. How does that work? And is it just that the Indian consumer right now is still not mature enough to say, okay, I'm just just a sushi guy and I want, just talk a bit about that.
No, my personal opinion is that we as Indians, we actually tend to consume, or at least the millennials, consumed Chinese food first. You go to Hong Kong and you go to a restaurant, a street side restaurant in Hong Kong, they also have about 100 items on their menu. Chinese restaurants and the Chinese traders that have come in, and a lot of ancestors that have opened, restaurants, they tend to have about 100 plus items. I think we've gotten used to it, right? But that's Chinese food. What we're experiencing now, like she said, Japanese, Korean, they tend to be very specialized. It's an art form for them, right? So they typically have about 3 to 6 menu items on the menu. So I think it's just a mental state of things that will change, and it has changed over time. You have restaurants, you have some places like doing only ramen in Bangalore. I know of a hole in the wall that does only ramen in Bangalore. You have in Gurgaon as well, in Delhi as well now. So things have really evolved. So when it comes to like a PF Chang's, our restaurant, we are pan-Asian. We tend to do a lot more, but we still keep, we're very mindful of not having too much, because then you lose your authenticity. I do everything, right? You kind of have to choose very carefully. And I think what she's mentioning, her restaurants are actually very specialized in that case, right? And this is evolving for sure. So I really feel the future is going to be a less is more philosophy more than anything else.
Yeah, because we still have that FOMO, that if I don't put this item, I'll miss the guy who'll come and have the tandoori chicken and the butter chicken, and then I also have Chinese, and I'll also put in, and it's so confusing, right, for consumers to go and choose from that, because then you have to take the waiters or the chef's recommendation. Coming to you, Gagan, just talk a bit about that, and how is it that you guys in your because five-star hotel is a different scale. You guys obviously operate at a different, but I mean, do you guys look at some level of specialization, and where do you see the new cuisines emerging?
I think if we see we want to save food wastage and other things. Everyone is talking about smaller menus in the coming trend. But what I feel is that India is a very diverse country, and we want to satisfy everyone from our restaurant. So we have vegetarians, okay? We have people eating non-veg, only chicken or lamb, and there are very less who eat seafood, but they are seafood lovers. So we want to satisfy everyone. That's why I think the trend of the bigger menus came. We have a lot of spiciness in our food, but there are people who don't eat spicy. So that all thing make our menu more bigger. We want to cover up everything. We don't want people to not to come to our restaurant as we don't have vegetarian option. As I said, the Chinese restaurant for us is more easy if we have a more non-vegetarian food. It's hard to give vegetarian dish in that kind of cuisine. But yes, we develop a lot of dishes, and a lot of people come only for vegetarian food to Shank Palace as well. They love our dumplings, stir fries. So that thing is important. If we focus really on a authentic Chinese cuisine where I serve only meat items, pork, maybe I lose a big chunk of vegetarian market. So I think these things still in our blood. I think until that is there, we will have this bigger menus in trend. As I said, Italian also. Yeah, if you go to Italian, a lot of Italian restaurants, if you go outside fine dining, they may not have pizza in the menu. But in Delhi, I think doing Italian restaurant without pizza is also questionable. Yeah. So this is where things come, the bigger and bigger menus.
And how easy, when they're coming to you, easy is it to get ingredients, the supply chain? And are you able to bring in a lot of technology into these businesses today, from a demand planning, forecasting, visible supply chain? I met a chef recently. He was just starting his restaurant, and he was even growing some of his spices in his own back garden. He says, because I didn't want to keep depending on getting stuff from Japan and China, etc. I mean, do you do a lot of that? And how easy is the whole sourcing part?
It's actually not very easy, but it's getting better. Supply chain is one of the bigger issues that we face, but because we're very particular about the ingredients, and it's very interesting you said that, because I just started a new project where we're getting into making our own soy sauce. And we will be one of the first people in India to produce authentic Japanese soy sauce. And I actually went to Japan and got trained last year. I spent 2 weeks in a very small village in Japan, it was a factory town, where I got trained in the process of making soy sauce. And now we're getting into...
And is that for your own restaurant or for selling as out?
It's going to be everything. So we're going to get into full-fledged manufacturing because there's a big demand for it. And currently, the soy sauce that's available is all imported. So we want to make it more accessible, more reasonable, but high quality. So we're also getting into that. So you're doing a bit of a back-end integration, which is what we want to do. And when I started getting into it, not only do I want to make the soy sauce, I want to go into more back-end of growing our own soybean and growing our own wheat. So how do you really sort of assure your customers of the quality of what you're serving? And so this is how we're also sort of doing our supply chain management. Coming to technology, of course, it plays a really big part of our business. And all our systems, our SOPs, we're digitalizing everything, because when you're managing multiple outlets, it's very important to have those SOPs in place and those sort of training and management modules in place, so that you have quality control and checks in place across different outlets. So yeah, all of that is quite important.
Sure. Coming to you, use of technology, AI. Are you guys leveraging a lot of technology today, both back-end and front-end? We talk about back-end supply chain, but front-end customer engagement is becoming very, very critical. Today a customer has so many options. How do you keep reminding the customer that you are, top of mind? If I go to a Zomato or a Swiggy page, I get all these options. And then how do I stay loyal to you to your brand? Just talk a bit about that. And what is it, some of the things you guys might be doing? And any of you guys can come in on that.
Yes, aggregators I think is playing a very important role nowadays. And as an individual hotel or as an individual brand, everyone wants to, the customer should come direct to us. So yes, we have a strong marketing, and then we keep introducing our own page, basically Instagram, and special links where people can directly land on our page. This not only involve F&B, and it majorly involved in rooms as well for direct booking, because you pay a lot of commissions to the channels like booking.com, etc. So I think every bigger brand is focusing a lot on e-direct, where you can, where the guest comes to the page, example Shangri-La, and book the room. Same as book for dining. So a lot of things are in process. And as I said, AI, yes, this is front of the house, but AI is also a lot coming in back of the house as well. There is a big topic nowadays is the food waste, how to avoid food waste. So Shangri-La has adopted a system called as Vino. Vino is a software where you can where you can basically record all the food waste coming out of the buffet leftover. It is AI based, so you don't have to feed what you are throwing in the bin. It identify, example, you are throwing chicken curry, the camera will identify that chicken curry 1 kg is going in the bin after the buffet. So after a week, you will able to identify that how much chicken curry you have wasted. Maybe it's more on Tuesday, less on Wednesday. So this will remind you that on Tuesday you have to cook less chicken curry. So I think the AI and technology is helping a lot, and we all are responsible citizens, and for the future we need to adopt technologies like this where we can save food which is getting wastage, especially a lot in buffet restaurants.
Fantastic. So we'll talk a bit about technology, AI, and then let's talk a bit about wastage and sustainability.
Yeah, I need to
because that's going to be a critical.
I need a session with Chef.
Yeah.
That's what I just realized that. So if you look at PF Chang's, right, we're an international franchise, about 300 PF Chang's around the world, right? Now, maintaining
Comes from where? Is it a Hong Kong brand? Or?
It's an American brand. It's a 30-year-old American brand. Actually, back in the day in my career, I actually looked at PF Chang's for inspiration, because they were the first pan-Asian international chain to master how do you scale beyond the US. Now they're in about 15 countries in total, including us, and have opened so many restaurants. Same food, same quality, everything, everywhere, right? So, and that's what we achieved here. The fact is that if you have like a dynamite shrimp in India and if you have it in the Dubai or the US, it has to taste the same. So going back to your, the sourcing. Initially, we had to actually source things from the US. Because whether it's noodles, because we just were not able to achieve that quality that's available around the world. But I mean, look at where India's come, right? I think 1 year down the line, we source everything locally now, and which has been approved by the US brand who've come in and done trials. So you can just see how the supply chain feeds the demand actually in India now, right? And they're all international ingredients. We've even developed things. We've developed our dim sum wrappers. We've developed our noodles. So a lot has changed. I think demand is there, and there are a lot of vendors who are kind of satisfying that demand. That's why the restaurants are also coming up. With respect to wastage, it's probably the key important thing in the kitchen. That's why I'm going to have a session with Chef in terms of what to do, but it is what it is, right? I think Chef, what he's mentioning about buffet restaurants, that tend to be the most, I would say, difficult to maintain, right? A typical food cost, if you had to look at a typical food cost of a Pan-Asian restaurant, tends to be, if you have a combined, about 30%, but I know some restaurants who are trying to deliver quality, we even go up to a 35-40%, right? The only thing is balance. The thing is sustainability. You can't sustain a business at that food cost, right? So that's why chefs mention about maintaining food wastage, maintaining food quality while ensuring that your food cost doesn't hit that number and you can't even make money, right? Because at the end of the day, we're in this.
Yeah, because your fixed cost, your people cost, your IT cost, your delivery cost with these platforms are just going up and up, right? You got to while you can negotiate a bit with these platforms, at the back end, you got to become very, 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 very sharp, right? And at the same time, you're trying to put quality in. So my next point is, is the Indian consumer evolving to pay a higher price because part of your margin gets impacted? I mean, are you see, because across FMCG today, we are hearing a lot about premiumization. Every brand is moving up the value chain on packaged foods, packaged goods, personal care, everything is moving upwards. Do you see that, Vantika, in your business as well? Are you able to do that and keep maintaining your margin as your cost of operations are also going up?
So I think it's dual, right? Because while yes, people are willing to, because now people are really getting into seeing the labels and seeing like, okay, what are you really consuming? And people are becoming very conscious of what's going in their mouths, and they're getting very conscious of ingredients and of what they're consuming and preservatives and things like that. So while yes, that is on the rise, but on the other side of it, they're also becoming very discount oriented. For restaurants, discounting is just like through the roof, and it is, I mean, I'm sure everybody here would agree that it's become like such a painful necessity. So as restaurateurs, now we have to really like think of pricing, not just for the product, but of potential discounting policies that you may need to get into to retain your customers. Because like I said, there's a good new restaurant opening every day. So the competition is so high in today's day and age, and everybody is getting into really high quality products, and they're delivering really premium products with good service. So how do you really stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, even packaging. If I just order on many brands, if I look at Enoki and you look at Pot and these brands, they've just taken packaging to a whole high level. Now the point is, a lot of it also creates massive wastage.
Yeah.
All these bottles and all are lying in your house in every place, and Indians don't throw anything. So my fridge is just full of pot bottles now. So I would figure out you need a separate place just to hold. So what I'm saying is that packaging has become, so all that puts pressure on you guys to raise the bar on how you are delivering, how you're giving the final product, and on the other hand, you've got a bit of downward pressure on pricing because, like you said, lots of competition.
Yeah.
So I can just talk a bit about from a hotel point of view. Does that impact you guys as well? That these buffet prices and menus versus other hotels, or is it more of a restaurant thing?
So we keep an eye on the competition restaurants. So we don't need to be a very high and not to be even a lower. So we have to be very competitive with the competition. I think it's very important because Delhi clientele is loyal, but they want to try everywhere. So you have to keep an eye. You are doing good, but others are also doing good. Keep it in mind. Never think that the competition is, we are better than the competition. Keep yourself, open your eyes for the market, what they are doing, how much they are pricing. So I think it's quite important to keep ourselves. And as you discussed packaging, I think packaging is very important, and especially Diwali is coming up. You will see tons of new packaging coming in the market. But I feel that when customer want to spend money, he see the packaging as well. If we something delivering Diwali hamper from Shangri-La, people expect the quality of packaging, Shangri-La logo on the top. That satisfy for the guest that he's paying amount of extra money. We are making sweets, others are also making sweets, but why Shangri-La is charging that particular amount? I think that should justifies from the packaging. Of course, the food safety, the hygiene, and nowadays everyone in India also is very much eager and interested to go the places where the hygiene is at utmost importance.
Sure. And I mean, this is to all three of you. What does it take when we like to see Indian restaurants with 3 and 4 star Michelin rating? I mean, look at these London restaurants in London, even Gymkhana and all. Within 2 years, they've all got rated, and they get so quickly. Many of these restaurants are scaled up very quickly. While in India, I think do we have any Michelin star restaurants in India? Is there a gap that they don't look at India at all for this? Because Indian food is so popular now, right? And if I look at, in the West, Indian is Eastern food, right? We are still very much part of that mix. So just talk a bit about, do you guys aim for that? How do you get qualified for that?
Trescent just became the first 3 Michelin star Indian restaurant.
Which one?
Trescent. So that was a very big achievement, I think, for us as Indians, that finally Indian cuisine is now being put on that map. Because while Indian cuisine is really good and very but you have to make it slightly more accessible to an international clientele. And concepts like you said in London and Dubai and all are doing that with concepts like Indian accent and cormorant. You're making it a little bit more palatable for an international clientele. So I do think there's like a really large potential for Michelin star to now come into India, because India is offering some of the best restaurants in the world.
Yeah, I agree, and it amazes me. And I think internationalization also is a bit, French don't internationalize anything. They're just like French. And Italians don't internationalize anything. I mean, they don't care, right? They just produce their cuisine and then you get. But Indians, we need to keep adapting. But just talk a bit about this.
Perhaps not not Michelin, but India has quite a few restaurants in the Asia top 50 and the Asia top 100 now. Inja is in the top 100, which is an Asian restaurant as well in Delhi.
Sorry, which one is that?
Inja. Yeah, they've just kind of got a mark as well, and a lot of Indian restaurants are in the Asia top 50 as well, right? So there is. We are now on the map. I can assure you that. But the thing is, the food scene in a Bangkok, in a Thailand, in Bangkok, in Singapore has evolved over a number of years. But we're really catching up. We've got some brilliant chefs with brilliant concepts, and it's really, really coming up. I just wanted to touch base on the whole, the pricing bit that you mentioned, right? I've opened restaurants in various cities in India, and what I've noticed is pricing is not, you just can't price things the same, and that's got to do with, people in Delhi prefer a certain price, people in Mumbai prefer Bangalore, so on and so forth. And also it depends on what kind of a concept you're opening. Now, if you're opening a premium dining restaurant, whether it's Asian or any other cuisine, right? Your average per cover, typically, which is what you get out of one guest, at a premium restaurant, it's about 2,000, 3,000 APC. And with the casual dining restaurants, which, let's say, I'll take my example for P.F. Chang's. I don't think I can go beyond 1,400, 1,500 rupee mark. And even Delhi, I do about 1,300, 1,400 rupee mark, right? So what we prefer to do is have dynamic pricing across cities and even within cities to have dynamic pricing, because things change. I'll give you an example of Mumbai. If you, in town, which is about Kolaba, Lower Parel, I have a certain pricing. I go down deeper down to the suburbs. I prefer a little bit of a lower pricing because people have a different understanding of value, And this is true for CDR restaurants, casual dining restaurants, who are more affordable and approachable. I think premium dining restaurants, I don't think
the same. Yeah,
they could do the same, but the only problem is they don't look to scale, right? You look at there's only one Bombay canteen in the country, There is, so I think it's just with respect to the concepts as well, you have to look at pricing. For CDR who are looking to scale, they need to follow dynamic pricing. And I think if you're specialized, trust me, there's enough audience in this country to come and try you out at your premium pricing, right? A premium dining restaurant should not be competing with a CDR restaurant because they have a very different philosophy. So yeah, just on that point.
Thank you so much. I think we are at the top of our session.